Right? I was thinking about that. Yeah, I do. Good morning, everyone. Call this meeting to order, and we'll begin with asking Supervisor Campbell to lead us in the pledge.
Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move right into call to the public. Anybody out there want to address?
Everybody's on the agenda.
All right. Okay, we'll move into our next item of business, the Public Health Service District. Board of Supervisors will convene as the Board of Directors of the Greene County Public Health Service District and will reconvene as the Board of Supervisors following consideration of this next item, the consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as listed.
I second that motion.
Motion has been made and second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it, so ordered. We will now reconvene as the Board of Supervisors and we'll move into our next item of business. The Flood Control District. Board of Supervisors will convene as the Board of Directors of the Greene County Flood Control District and will reconvene as the Board of Supervisors following consideration of this following item, the consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as listed.
I second that motion.
Motion has been made and second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Ayes have it, so ordered. We will now move into our next item of business. Matt Bollinger, Emergency Manager.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good morning. On July 21st, as you all are very well aware, that we are in emergency fire restrictions countywide currently. On July 21st, BLM came out of their fire restrictions. On July 25th, the U.S. Forest Service came out of their restrictions completely. I have talked with the three fire chiefs in the county, Clifton, Morenci, and Duncan. Did some updates yesterday with the Duncan fire chief. There has been a little bit of moisture. Supervisor, as you know, we got a half inch that we had down in Duncan recently. All the fire chiefs are in agreement that we probably should consider coming out of our emergency restrictions and just go to our normal. We have normal fire restrictions that we stay in year round. And so this is a decision that you will have to make.
Go ahead, son.
When did ABRS come out of their emergency fire restrictions? Did they, the Apache Sick Rapes?
Yes, they did on the 25th, Supervisor.
25th, okay.
Yep. And they came completely out of their, not in any fire restrictions. The Forest Service, Apache Sick Rapes kind of partners up with their neighboring forests, and they kind of have an all or nothing pact, if you will, where if one comes out, they all come out, and that's to kind of limit confusion between agencies. And we have had a considerable amount more moisture in the north part of the state. We have not had that moisture as we all know here. So
I just have a comment. I don't, as on the lack of moisture that we've had here locally, I mean, what does it matter if we continue this for a little bit longer than lifting that restriction right now?
it does, when we are in our emergency restrictions, it does put there's certain work that can't be done on roads. There are people, I know that there are people that have been wanting to do some burn piles. But that is completely up to you to make that decision.
Well, as close as you work on that, Matt, what is your recommendation? Well, how do you feel about it? I mean, you're out there.
Yep. Most of our fires are not started by humans. Most of
Okay.
our fires are started by lightning strikes, in the wildland setting, not necessarily in where homes are involved. I like when we follow the Forest Service.
Okay.
That has worked for us in the past. However, recently the forests have decided to all band together when they do this, and so I don't think we're getting as much local input, if you will. And that's the safeguard is with you all. I feel comfortable coming out of them. Can things happen? Yes. And that I am glad that it's you that make that decision and not me.
And I'm just thinking along the lines of what happened from Safford to Globe, in there in the Pima Thatcher area, which was very unusual. It wasn't in the forest, it was just brush that, just wiped everything out over there. So that's why I'm asking these questions and just, adding a little to it. So,
My opinion is I think we should come out of them
okay,
along with BLM Forest Service.
Can I ask questions?
absolutely.
You said the 3 fire chiefs, Morency,
Clifton
and
and
Duncan all
Duncan.
are in agreement that if we went back to the non-emergency fire restrictions, they're behind that also,
They are.
in agreement with that, I guess I should say.
Duncan was a little leery on it, and so I checked in with Chief Boyd
Uh-huh.
yesterday. I think I was up at tower sites yesterday, so I believe it was yesterday. It was either yesterday or Monday that I checked in with Chief Boyd just to see if he had, and he was the one that said, well, we did get a half an inch of rain, which has helped, but he said, I'm comfortable coming out.
And I like being in line with the Forest Service as well, and that's why I asked. So if because they have all the scientists and everything else that checks moisture in trees and everything else. So if they feel that we're kind of past that time, then I'm good with it.
And I'm good if the local fire authorities are in agreement with it also.
And I'm good if all of you are good with it. So That's
right.
just,
I'd like
I entertain promotion.
Well, I move
that we consider that we rescind the emergency fire restrictions and resume non-emergency fire restrictions.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made in second. All in favor? Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. Everyone in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it, so ordered.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Matt.
Appreciate it. Okay, we'll move into our next item of business. Justine Holguin, Fair Events Coordinator. She's got a lot to discuss with us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
Oh, yeah.
So I just wanted to give some updates on the fair and where we're at as of today. So starting, we have secured the funding through the Governor's Advisory Committee, Livestock, Agriculture, and Promotion Fund. We have submitted for permits through the State Fire Marshal's Office, and this permit will allow us to operate our special event. We also have to apply for a special permit for the tent that we put up for shade. I'm still waiting to hear back from them, but they know it's my first year and I think they'll give us some grace. So I'm not too concerned there. I've received the permit through ADOT for our parade, and we have sign up sheets out for that already. And so we'll start pushing more to get people signed up for the parade.
What time is the parade?
It's Saturday at 8 a.m.
Okay, so it's Saturday morning.
Yeah, Saturday morning, and the lineup will start at 7 a.m. Okay, and then moving into some of our entertainment, opening our fair on Thursday, we'll have Miss Teresa Campbell singing the national anthem. The Greenlee County royalty will then be announced. With Greenlee County royalty, I did move them out from underneath the fair just to avoid some issues that I had seen there. So if you want me to give an explanation on that, I'm more than happy to, but they are going to be their own little entity outside of the fair, and we'll just give them a place in our fair to have a spot in there. We do have Sun Valley Rides Carnival coming in. He'll come in the Sunday or Monday of the fair, and he'll begin to set up. He will operate Thursday through Sunday. Sunday, I know in the past has been, I believe they only operated till about noon and they would close up. We're gonna run him noon to 8 p.m. and see if we get people to come in. Right now, I'm working on trying to get a team roping in on Sunday, just to put some more entertainment there. The gentleman that did express interest, let me know yesterday that he wasn't able to do it. So I'm reaching out to other people to see if we can find somebody. And with Steve, so Steve is with Sun Valley Rides, we're currently working on the layout of the carnival and where it'll sit at. So we should get this going. We will bring the National Intercollegiate Rodeo Association in again to do the rodeo. Everything's squared away with them. We're good to go. Slash M Rodeo, Scott McDaniel will bring the livestock in on Thursday for the rodeo. Some other entertainment, we have Ride Hard coming in. He'll provide mutton busting, longhorn shows, and stick pony races. And he will run Thursday through Saturday. We have the Freckle Farm Petting Zoo coming in, and they'll offer petting zoo services Thursday through Sunday. We have a neon foam party, and this will be on Thursday night, and it'll be a DJ with cannons that shoot out foam, and we'll light them up with some neon lights to make the foam look like it's glowing. So my intention for Thursday is to make it more of a family fun night where families can come out and have a good time and say, let's come back the rest of the weekend. I will have a cornhole tournament on Saturday, a car show on Saturday that will be hosted by the Mount Graham Safe House, with all proceeds going to the Greenlee County Safe House. Some family fun games that we'll run are inflatable barrel races that the Warren family will host. And so we're gonna do that on Thursday. My intent for that is usually there's something on the arena on Thursday. And so I know that may be an expectation. So to kind of make it more of again, a family fun time. I don't know if you've ever seen the inflatable costumes and it looks like someone's riding a horse. So we'll do races and the kids will run around the barrels and just make it a fun little thing. Hopefully it turns out well. Throughout the weekend, we'll have a boot scramble, haystack find, and donut on a rope. We will have the Heart and Soul Band providing live music, and there will be a dance on Friday and Saturday. We have been accepting applications for vendors and exhibitors and food vendors as well. And those spots are actually filling up pretty quickly. So we're almost good with what we need to fill all the spots. I've been working with the livestock groups. Right now, I have already sent out the exhibitor forms for them as well as the fair book. And I am waiting to hear back on how many ribbons we need to get ordered for them. Valley Telecom will be coming in and broadcasting the livestock shows, and we are squared away with him as well. I reached out to the schools again with exhibit entry forms and the fair book in hopes to encourage them to participate in submitting exhibits into our exhibit room. I reached out to the school districts to get the total number of students so that we can get flyers out to the schools. I would have liked to already have done that. However, I'm still trying to find like the team roping, and I was trying to bring some other groups in just to make our event more diverse. I had reached out to the Apache Reservation for their crown dancers, and I reached out to the Morenci schools for their mariachi band. They were unable to perform this year, but maybe next year. So I reached out to Western New Mexico, and I haven't heard back from them. I've tried to contact them several times. So I think maybe by the end of this week, if I don't hear back from those groups, I will just make the event schedule as is. And next year I'll have a little bit more time to work with different people and try to find others to bring them in. So law enforcement, I worked with the sheriff's office. They will take care of crowd control. They'll be identified in uniform. I reached out to Green County Search and Rescue and will be attending their meeting tonight for them to be potentially parking attendants. As you all know, our parking is going to be a little bit different this year. And so I think having some people in the parking lot to just kind of help manage the parking may help a little bit. They won't be there to do car checks and trunk checks and all that good stuff, but maybe if they saw someone getting in their car with a beer or something, they can say, hey, you can't have that here or something, but we'll talk further on that when I hear more about that. We are required to have a first aid station throughout the entire event per the state fire marshal's office. So I reached out to the health department and they will be manning the first aid station. Thanks to them because those are long hours. So I've been working with Duncan Fire, Hayden Boyd, and he's helped me through a lot of the process of walking through the grounds, seeing what things that we need to have updated before the state fire marshals come in. And so he's been very helpful. For bar services, I wanted to give you a little bit of an update on that. The ROI was posted a few weeks ago, and we have received some interested groups in that. And I reached out to the convenience stores and restaurants to see if their liquor license would allow them to extend. They believe so, but they need to look into it more. I've also tried to contact the state liquor board. I've been unable to get a hold of them. So hopefully we have more answers moving forward. But as of right now, that's the update that I have regarding that. So I think I've covered everything. There may be a lot more that is going on, but it is a lot. So that's pretty much the gist of everything. Do you have any questions?
You've really been busy. Wonderful.
Everyone's been very helpful though, so I can't take all the credit. It's been a lot of learning and getting to know the crowds and stuff, but everyone has really been helpful to me. So it's been a little bit of a breeze, I guess. So
Wow, that was amazing, everything that you've looked into and everything that you're working on. Do you guys have any questions or?
Just want to make sure you got a replacement for Richard Lunt, because he pretty much ran that, the livestock section of that, so.
he gave me his address. I'll go knock on his door.
He's in DC, so.
Mission in DC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I'm sure we'll,
I'll be more than happy to do that.
Build
It'd be
a-
exciting.
just another quick question on the Sun Valley rides.
Mhm.
Have we used them before, or have other entities, used them? Do you have any feedback on them?
We haven't used them before. They're typically the last couple of years been set up and that's just parking lot over there.
Okay.
I've heard good things about them, but we haven't personally. So, kind of the local fairs in this area. Yeah, but I know there is some fairs that do. It's not on this side.
Yeah, I know Sierra Vista, he said, the weekend before our event, he's gonna be in Sierra Vista. I believe that's where they're based out of. And in the beginning of September, they'll be in Silver City. So, they use them and he's been great to me so far. So
Good.
we've been,
And he has signed on the dotted line and all that.
yes, all contracts have been reviewed. Well, the majority of them have been reviewed by Gary, signed, either brought to you guys, or if they were able to sign off on them, they have. So all of that's been taken care of. We do still have some straggling ones coming in. So I know one is in review with Gary and we may have a couple more. The rodeo announcer just sent us his, but he was the gentleman that we used last year. So he's already in our system. And the other one is the foam party, but he's already sent us his W-9 fingerprint card, insurance. He had just never done a contract before, so he may have been getting help on that. So we should receive that.
That's the one we'll have David attend. It's a phone party.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow, okay,
Great information.
good
Thank you.
job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Looking forward to it.
All right, well, we'll move into our next item of business. Tony Hines, Public Works Manager and Fleet Facilities Fleet.
Good morning, Tony Hines, Public Works Manager. For item A, we're looking to purchase a 100,000 gallon water tank for the project in Duncan for the ball fields and the irrigation and stuff. We just decided on this on our last fairgrounds meeting, so it's been a week. I've gone out for 5 different companies and I've heard back from 2 so far. So my recommendation would be to go with Aquamate at $50,207.05 for the tank.
Mr. Chairman, if I might briefly, in our internal discussions, we discussed the best way to store and use water. Obviously, water is a limiting factor down there. We own at least 7 or 8 black plastic tanks. We've had some problems with the bung hole. That's where they tend to wear out. The steel tanks have a much longer expected life. It would be placed up in the north part of the park near where the current playground is. That's one of the highest places in the park. So you'd have some natural gravity. As I understand it, that once we put the pad down, they will assemble the tank.
Yes, this is delivered, assembled, and tested.
So that way we will link up all of our wells so that any well on the property can deposit water in the tank and then form a single distribution point from there.
That's in addition to the ones that are there already, is that?
Correct.
Yeah.
So this tank, for example, would be able to eventually feed the ones at the south part of the park, so we can fill up, or any other stand, so that, you know, Dave and his crew or Tony, whoever needs water, could get to it.
Correct. And we thought this was more aesthetically pleasing than having 6 or 7 different bunches of tanks around the fairgrounds.
Although I keep suggesting them, if we paint black tanks to look like minions,
Mm,
we'd all be winners.
yeah. Get them in yellow.
There you go.
Well, Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
just real quick, so really we have a decision to make of, 98,000 versus 50,000. But did you take a look at what was the major difference? Why such a huge disparity?
To me, they look the same.
Yeah.
Basically the same size tank. One's 102,000, one's 110,000.
Yeah.
They both come with aligners. They both come with the same inlets. They come with the anti-vortex fitting for the out. It's basically the same.
Hmm.
And I was surprised Tank Depot was so high also.
Yeah.
And did I hear you right, Derek? You said that this is a metal one and they last longer?
It's a galvanized metal tank with a liner inside, yes.
They're not subject to sun rot like plastic will eventually
Yeah,
experience.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I guess we have we have the 2 quotes. I mean, you
By
haven't
the
got
way-
anything back since.
One more piece of information we were discovering as we looked at plastic ones, that they were about 60 to 70 cents per gallon. So a 10,000 gallon tank would run about 7,000, 6,700, somewhere from there. This is at 50 cents a gallon. Now granted, there's some extra, we'd have to put the, pour the pad and so forth, but the metal at volume actually turned out to be a cheaper per gallon price than the plastic ones. And if I'm wrong on that, Austin or Tony, correct me, but
I think one of the popular things like the bunch of tank versus one large tank. Having one large tank to centralize all the water, which is very nice.
Okay.
One last thing, it looks like this Aquamate is out of Georgia.
Yes.
Do they have a local area or Southwest region office or?
No, it'll come out of Georgia. The roof will actually be delivered by Mueller, but the tank itself and the liner will be out of Georgia.
And you've visited with some human beings on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I was talking to him this morning before the meeting on the roof, because it said the roof had to be delivered first before the tank was gonna be released. And he said, yeah, that would come out of Mueller. That's where I got that. Plus, he had 102,000 gallon tanks in stock before the tariffs hit. So we're getting that price. Instead of the.
Perhaps
after
that's
the
why it
tariff
might be the
price.
better price too.
Maybe.
Yeah. Wow. Jackpot. Okay. Any other questions?
No, sir.
And I entertain for motion.
I move that we purchase a water storage tanks for the county park in Duncan for the amount from
Aquamate engineered water tanks in the amount of $50,207.05.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made in second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it, so ordered. Thank you, Tony, on that one. Go to B now.
Okay. So item B, we're looking to go out for bids on our vehicle list that you have there. One note on that one would be the PPV vehicles. We're gonna go out for bid for completed vehicles. Instead of going to get the truck and then go out for upfitting later, we're gonna get it all done in once. So hopefully that'll be a little bit faster.
Yeah.
No Camaro.
And that's gonna save you funds with your local group by not having to upfit these, correct?
Well, say if Kempton's was going to bid on it, they would go to an upfitter and get the price for us and come back with that price as a total. So it doesn't eliminate anybody out of the bidding process. And they have done it for us before.
Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
in addition, with the change in our vehicle purchasing policy, we'll be looking at every option available to us, whether that's bids, whether that's leases, whether that's whatever's out there. And depending on responses, we'll present, what we get back, but also what we think is the best overall price for the county.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Mr. Chairman, just out of curiosity, what do you do with the old ones? Do you auction those back out or?
Yeah, we auction them off.
That's just in Graham County, right? At the auction there. in Graham
Yeah,
County?
Tingle Auction does an auction every year in February, March, around there, and
Yep.
we jump in with Graham County, Pima, Thatcher, Safford, Wilcox, some of those others.
Sounds
I
good.
see, I think one of the vehicles is gonna be a water truck. That's gonna be,
That's on the next item.
oh, I'm sorry, that's right. All right, you're right. I'm ahead of.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions or
No
concerns?
questions for me.
All right, I entertain for motion.
Well, I move that we approve going out to bid for possible procurement of the fiscal year 25-26 vehicles as presented.
I second that motion.
Motion has been made in second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it, so ordered. Okay, move into item C.
So item C, we're looking for permission to purchase the equipment that we need for the roads department on our rotation through Empire. I almost said Enterprise. Empire. One grader, one loader, and the water truck.
Okay. I have just a question on the water truck. Is that water truck usable? I mean, I know it's a used old truck, but is it usable?
The 2,000 gallon we have in Duncan now?
Well, the one that you're gonna replace, is it?
Yeah, that's the 2,000
Oh,
gallon.
that's a 2,000? Okay, you're
Yeah.
gonna replace it with a 4,000.
2,000, correct.
So you're gonna put a 4K in there?
Yep.
So.
Yeah, it's
that one-
usable.
I'm just asking, cause maybe the possibility of, we've talked in the past about possibly parking a water truck over at the park for Loma Linda and Bertie Lee in situations of a possible fire or whatever. Is that
For right now,
doable?
Right now, the 2,000 truck will stay in Duncan. It's the only one that will put inside the arena until we get the upgrades done to the arena that we want, put sprinklers in there or whatever. But right now, a 4,000 gallon truck, totally weighted, is too heavy for the arena. So we'll keep the 2,000 for that until we get the other part done.
But then after that.
But then after, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, after that, it's.
then we can decide whether
Correct.
to send it in or not.
Yep.
Okay.
I didn't use it as a trade-in on this one.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
good.
that's the reason why.
Okay, that's what I was leading up.
So now we'll have two water trucks.
We'll have three,
Good, good.
Okay,
two 4,000s and a 2,000.
all right, sounds good.
I'd like to move that we purchase a grader, 930 loader, and 4,000 gallon water truck from Empire Machinery on the Omnia purchasing agreement.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made at second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it, so ordered. Going to item D.
Item D is to purchase a UTV for the engineer. Mr.
See what you
Larson-
started? See what you started, Eric?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're fine. So Mr. Larson had gone out and done all the legwork on this one and got the 3 quotes. So my recommendation, and his really didn't have a recommendation, he's okay with any of them. But the one from Cochise Motorsports in Sierra Vista at 19,997.57 would be my recommendation.
And it's red.
Red.
So that's El Rojo Junior.
Oh, you can't borrow it. Okay. Anybody have any questions or anything on it?
I don't. I mean, what's it gonna be used for?
To haul his drone.
Yeah, him running out in the middle of the desert
Yeah.
to find his little metal things in the ground.
Yeah. Well,
We'll also get him
Right now
up to
he's
top
got-
Guthrie Peak to reset his
It's
antennas or
gonna
whatever.
s-
if we need
yeah.
to.
It's gonna save his truck, so.
yeah.
Right now, he's on his footmobile,
Yeah, we-
just
Yeah.
like a billy goat out there. Okay,
yeah.
No, I think it's a good move. I think, like I said, we ought to utilize UTVs in several aspects where we're taking vehicles like, with the sheriff's office as well. So,
Yep.
all right. Well, I entertain for motion.
well, I move that we approve the purchase of 1 UTV for the engineering department through Cochise Motorsports in the amount not to exceed $20,000.
I second that motion.
Motion has been made and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it, so ordered. Moving to item E.
Item E, we're looking to go out for a bid for the construction of the Little League ball field in Duncan. We want to go out with a sealed bid for the total construction, the fence, the sod, the irrigation system, everything. We'll supply them with a level dirt field and they can make it.
Good question. When will you have the scope of work developed, that you're gonna send out for bid? Do you have that?
I don't have, I've been working on it, but I haven't completed it yet.
Okay.
It's kind of general because I'm not gonna list all the irrigation parts because I don't know what all those are gonna be.
No.
So it's just gonna be general, as in we want a sprinkler system for a little league field, which that includes grass on the infield and a little bit down the sidelines. The fence, we have the fence mapped out. We want dugouts in there, 300-foot fence. There's also a provision in there for the temporary or the permanent holes to put a temporary fence on for $225 if they go to a little league game, stuff like that.
Obviously we know what type of grass we want to use, right? Now that we're doing the Loma Linda, that field there,
Right.
so we can identify what type of sod, so we don't get variations of that and have to make a decision later. So if we stipulate that.
Okay.
Also would it make sense to have them put in, since they're gonna be doing the irrigation for maybe peripheral trees or something, if we're gonna put trees around the ball field or something like that? Can that be included? One, irrigation gets extended to be able to irrigate those trees and have them put in those trees.
We can add that.
I just think if we identify that, so if we get a ball field that is good to go and everything's done, but if we build that into the scope of work, then we can have that all done at one time, and I think that would be the best way to go about it.
We can add
If
that.
you'd like us to do that, we can certainly expand the scope of it.
I think while they're putting in irrigation, if they're gonna create the irrigation system and they want to be able to, take care of those half a dozen trees, whatever that is, whatever makes sense, to go around those ball fields. So
One of the other things we talked about is that this first of hopefully two ball field, baseball, softball fields, or is oriented somewhat east and west. We talked about building up the backstop high enough that shade can be put up there to, in the late afternoon, to protect pitchers in particular from looking into the sun or having the sun affect their ability to play.
But yeah, I'm thinking down the road, if we get those trees and stuff now, then give them an opportunity to grow for a year or so before, you know. So I think that's good to include.
Kill three birds with one stone.
Yeah.
With that said, with what Supervisor Campbell just mentioned, so are you bringing that back to us with the itinerary and of everything that'll be done, that we're gonna go out and ask for bid, or are we just giving, so are we giving you direction and to go ahead and do your thing and get the bids?
We're asking for permission to move forward right now. We've got a fairly short window before we've got to get the grass on the ground by mid-September to give it a chance to take root. So we're asking for the permission to go out and get those bids, get it started, and come back to you probably in the first meeting in September and award the bid.
Okay, so in the
We're moving
meantime, while
fast.
you're working on that, Tony, would you just keep us in the loop and send us what you're proposing to do,
Yeah.
that you're gonna go out for bid? Okay.
Yeah, and I would just give the direction to say, let's make it as detailed as
Yeah.
possible so that we don't have variations or
Right.
proposals coming back. So,
Okay.
you know, identify that.
So we don't have
Identify how
to
many
go-
trees, whatever that is. But. Okay,
Okay.
good deal. Yes, and I would love to see that as it's going out. I mean, that's fine. We can give you permission to go out, but I'd like to review that. So.
Okay.
Okay,
I'd like to move that we give permission to solicit bids for construction of the ball field in the county park in Duncan.
I'll second that.
motion has been made and second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, now I call for vote.
When is your goal to have the bid scopes out?
By next week,
Perfect.
the sooner the better.
Okay,
That was my discussion. Thank you.
all right. So now, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, ayes have it, so ordered. Thank you,
Thank you.
Tony. Okay, next item of business. Eric Ellison, County Sheriff. Floor is yours.
Good morning, Chairman, Board, Eric Ellison, Sheriff. Kind of lost my voice, so I'll have to try to talk loud. So today we're just asking for approval and sign the resolution letter for the state parks grant. Now, this grant was $445,000, 809. Wait, let me re-say that, 445,809. And what that grant entails is side-by-sides. And so those are $70,000 side-by-sides. There'll be 3 of them. And they will come fully outfitted with lights, siren, radio, Starlink, backboards, and all the equipment for rescue that we need. It also has $235,000 for overtime monies for the deputies so they can patrol those areas that we don't patrol. And one of those areas is the blue. And at that same time, it kills 2 birds with 1 stone for the county, because we don't have anybody in the blue that patrol very often, because we just don't have the resources to put somebody there. This puts somebody there and they can patrol those dirt roads at the same time they can patrol those neighborhoods in the blue, which is a plus, and it's a benefit for us. It's a benefit for our citizens in the blue, and it shows a presence there. And we haven't had that presence, and this is going to be one way is going to be phenomenal to make that presence. There is some provisions, and one of the provisions I just want to tell you about is anything over $50,000 is we have to keep the side-by-sides, or the only thing we have would be up to 25 years. We expect them to go about 15 years, we're guessing, but if you read down through the grant, they can take those back when they're expired. So if they don't take them back, I guess we'll put them up on top of the sheriff's office and it'll be a monument. I don't know. But
25 years.
that's what the grant does. And I wanted to be straightforward with that, but it is a very good grant. I think it does benefit our county. I think it benefits our citizens. And it's one way we can reach out. And this all stemmed from, you guys remember what happened in Lower Eagle Creek with the two little girls that drowned. So this is all of this stems from. One thing I failed to mention, but my Lieutenant Gabe Guerrero has worked extremely hard on this grant. It wasn't something that we've ever done before. We've never approached this before. We did get counsel. Several of the other sheriff's offices have used this and are currently using this grant, and it's been phenomenal for them as well. But open to any questions that you may have.
I have a question, Eric. Is this grant a guarantee, or do you have to wait to see if they're gonna honor it?
So it's going to be a guarantee. So what the only thing that we have to do is we have to do $10,800 to match, and that's really we have to pay our staff to go to the fair, or if they're riding in the creek or in the river, to hand out flyers for the state parks program, and that's ATV safety. And so they'll have to show that, you know, we're promoting the state's park program with those safety programs, and like maybe, you know, wearing helmets, those sorts of things. And that's pretty much it. It's pretty simple grant for that. But yeah, it's as you say, we're going to guarantee to get it.
Well, yeah, you know,
Yeah.
Is this a grant that you apply for and the funding's there? You know, is it like automatic, or do you have to wait to see if they're going to?
No, so we've already gone through the cycles of everything. So all we have to do now is do the resolution letter. You guys sign off and it's ours. I mean, it's done.
Wow, it's great.
Yeah, it's
No, I
all the
think
work
that's-
has been done.
Can somebody,
And I see the in-kind, I'm sorry, Will, the in-kind was $10,000 coming from the county
Yes.
versus the total.
Yeah.
That's a slam dunk.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
I got a little bit lost on the 25-year thing. So can you explain that one more time?
So the equipment, so anything over $50,000 that we purchase, and we're purchasing 3 side-by-sides. So each one of them is over $50,000. So technically, we may have to keep that for those side-by-sides for 25 years. You know, but like I said, there is a provision in there that if we don't use it, that they will take it back. Or they have the choice to take it back. They don't have to take it back. But it's
Okay, so that's
most
no-
likely they would.
That's no extra funds to the county though.
What's that?
That's no extra funds to the county after a 25-year time or anything like that. So
No.
they want to keep that
Just want to make sure that we keep
option to
them.
take them back.
Yeah.
I mean, seems like a really long time,
Yeah.
but.
I don't
we
know.
won't
I
be
don't,
around
yeah, I
this.
don't think you're gonna be here or I'll be here to worry about it, but
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
In short, it's one of those things.
Remember that.
This is the same funding source we talked about at the fairgrounds. They want to ensure that this is used for the purpose it was given.
Yeah.
To go out
Yes.
patrol, recreation, that kind of stuff. They don't want us to get it in a year and then a year later we turn it into something else. And so it's that, and frankly, as they pointed out, we had some much lesser quality machines that we've had for 20 years. And so if they're well taken care of, they may well last for 20 years.
Yeah.
But there's also an obsolescence provision. If we can demonstrate we've used them all up, we can probably go back and say there's nothing left. But
Sounds great.
Quick question, one other
Go ahead.
question. So, you know, I know you mentioned up on the blue, being able to patrol up there. Is there a way to keep it up there? Is there anywhere?
that's a good question. So with the search and rescue, we're trying to get some of this. We have 10 acres up there that belongs to the school board, and we've asked if we could get a little portion, like a half acre of that. And then the search and rescue wants to buy a steel building and place it there, and which would be a little sheriff's office substation
Mhm.
next to the school, which kind of gives us a little bunkhouse and a place to park it, one of those side by sides there, and it can stay there permanent, as well as some of the search and rescue vehicles.
No, I think
That's the
Outstanding,
plan.
yeah.
That's the plan right now. That's what we're looking at doing.
Derek, maybe we could talk a little bit about, you know, roads department and, you know, equipment.
one of the things, even on this idea, we want to check and make sure is that enclave for school is a grant from the Forest Service. It may have restrictions on it, which we'll want to check out before we place buildings on it.
Right.
But yes, we need to go back and revisit a location for a road yard. As you know, the last time we explored it, which has been probably close to 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That was, we had a lease option and there was no purchase option up there now. We'll see if the landscape has changed.
True.
Okay, so
Okay.
you have direction to look into that.
Okay, we'll do.
Okay.
Yeah, and I believe that Brian Bowling already talked to the school board, and I can't remember, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think they've already approved, cutting a little piece off for search and rescue. So,
But we don't want to
Yeah,
mess
they're-
up that,
right,
but
Yeah.
obviously we still have other end goals that we need to try to get to at some point for our roads department as well, so.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
We're with you on this. Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
I move that we grant permission to approve the application for a non-motorized or motorized permit.
Motorized grant.
Grant, excuse me. Right there.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made in second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, a call for vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it, so ordered. Okay. This has been approved and we gave their direction to look into this.
Step over the lead office.
Okay, we'll move into our next item of business. Derek Rapier, County Administrator, and Reed Larson, County Engineer. The floor is
Somebody's
yours, somebody.
Dynamic duo.
Did Reed leave? I saw him walk in here.
He'll be right back.
Oh.
Huh. There we go. So, I'm gonna sort of stall talk till Reed gets back in the room. What we see on the screen right now is the Loma Linda Park. We already own the 10 acres there, and the reason that's important is that's gonna keep us anchored to what we need to, or what we're considering about for other acquisitions. By way of timeline, of course, we've talked about this and talked about this and talked about it, and we, about 3 months ago, in that neighborhood, the board gave direction that the engineer was to identify a parcel somewhere between 100 and 120 acres. Reed and I talked about making that minimum no less than 108 acres, and the reason for that is it's divisible by 36. And that's important for minor subdivision land laws. So with that parameters, Reed sketched out a couple of different options. One is 108, the other is I think 114 or 121. So we'll go through them at one time, and then we were approached by Chairman Gomez to talk about possibly expanding it. Looking forward to acquire some land that could potentially be used as a packet plant location to dispose of solid, human waste in a consolidated or community fashion. So the first, and this will be familiar to you. First is this double-headed arrow looking thing that encompasses right about 108 acres. Like I say, that number is not necessarily magical, other than it's divisible by 36, which is helpful and allows for some more flexibility. If you go under 108, then some of that flexibility in eventual disposal subsides. This one is listed on Reed's thing at 114. And you can barely see it's this green line down here. Reed, I thought at one point we decided this was 121. Do you recall? Is there a way to measure this? If you were coming and pilot this, can you measure this extra chunk here?
Yeah, you right click on it, right here, Derek.
Okay, right click on that.
Yeah. The properties.
Okay.
Measurements. Oh, sorry, it's a polyline, it's not an area, I apologize, so.
Oh, how can I stop that from
But
happening?
I
Cancel.
You do a link, no, just hit cancel and it'll go back. But that, it is 114.
114. Okay.
And to see that better, you can uncheck the one above it, if you want, turn that off and on, toggle it off and on.
So that would be the next step up, if you will. Over on this area and Reed tried to coach me up on this. We'll see if it works. As we took the sort of terrain view, this ledge right here more or less follows the same ridge that goes along for the top part of the bottom half of Loma Linda. So up here, there's a hill, and it kind of levels off through this area, and then all of these streets drop down to the lower level of Loma Linda right here. This hill seems to follow that same contour. If you end up here at the Y and take this dirt road, it'll be flat just like everything else around it, and then it drops off down to this road. This area here is fairly flat. This area is sloped. I'm not sure if you can see it any better, but it's essentially sloped right along here at about the same angle as you see these houses built on the hill. So, but that's the 114 acre option. If we come down here, this is the one that was developed. Let's see, hit the R. This was developed primarily to try and capture some of this area in Loma Linda Wash down here at the bottom. If you've been out to the area, this is a fairly significant drainage system. In fact, to give you some perspective, the original line drawn here was essentially to keep ourselves out of the wash. We'd understood, I believe Supervisor Gomez understood that at one point, previous attempt to develop this area had included area north of the wash in this area. We weren't quite sure why, because it would be very difficult to get over to this area for housing development. I mean, obviously Supervisor Gomez is going to be the most familiar with this area, but like I said, that's a fairly significant drainage there. But it does put, like I say, some low drainage area for the potential of a packet plant. A packet plant is essentially a sewer system, and they make them in as much as you can prefab, so you can come and install them. Some of the ones they became quite popular in the subdivisions down in the valley for a while, and some of those tended to fail. There was in fact, at one point, there's attempted legislation regarding it, but developers come in, put these things in that last about 10 years. Just about the time the developer had sold all the lots. And so then the homeowner association were having to come up with a way to build and rebuild or fix their packet plant. I think the technology's advanced since then. But nevertheless, that's a step or two beyond where we're at. But this 131 acre model would give us a location for a packet plant somewhere near Loma Linda Wash. And I'm going to ask Reed Cole, because I haven't asked this before. Do you know what, if any, restrictions there might be with respect to putting a plant like that in a drainage?
So you want to keep it out of the floodway, put it in the floodplain if you adequately protected it. And that wash may not be big enough that FEMA has even mapped it at either floodway or floodplain. So it's doable. You obviously don't want to put it right down at the bottom. Yeah. But the lower those package plants are, the better. That means they serve more area.
One of the things that whoever, and I don't know who did, but who put Skyline Road in, is they picked a nice ridge line. It goes kind of on the top, so you get drainage. Certainly on the northwest side of the road that all heads this direction down into Loma Linda Wash. This stuff begins to drain off the other side. But obviously, if you have a package plant, it allows you to increase housing density, more multifamily homes. If there's a common water supply as opposed to wells for every individual lot, then you can increase your density somewhat because you're not having to plan a well and a septic tank and an alternative septic site that doesn't interfere with each other nor your neighbors. And so that can restrict, and in that kind of setting, probably an acre's the smallest we'd want to go. 3/4 of an acre, maybe. If you have a common water system, you can reduce those lot sizes. Because you're not trying to put a well next to a septic tank. A packaged plant, of course, would allow you to have a common waste system. And then apartments or duplexes or whatever, you know, could come into play. It would increase your housing density. Like I say, in terms of usable space, this follows, and Reed's gonna correct me because I'm gonna probably get it wrong, aliquot lines. In other words, these follow things like section lines, quarter section lines, that kind of stuff. That's why it gives this kind of blocky, squarish look to it. This would give us the advantage of potential package plant placement. This land would be buffer zone. I mean, it's like I said, it'd be highly unlikely that you'd build housing over there. And I would defer to Chairman Gomez. He's familiar. This is his neighborhood, obviously. He would know that better than I would. Again, sort of showing contour.
Can you overlay the 114 option as well?
Yes.
Thank you.
So the 114 basically just runs along the southeast side of Loma Linda Wash. This gives you kind of an idea of the and if you've been out to the park, you get down here, it begins to slope off fairly dramatically. We don't have any usable space. We haven't developed any usable space past the corner. And so, in any event, the difference between the 114 and the 131 is acquisition of the wash bed, and you know this. And Reed, is this area right here where my cursor is that sloped also?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So the only flat area would be up here.
And you know, just a comment, Derek, that what I understood from state land is that we don't have our hands tied to if that area that you're talking about on that side of the wash, with the possibility that nothing might not get ever be built there, that we can move that area to another location, right, Reed? Isn't that?
So the previous direction that we got from the board, was you put bookends on an area, acreage. And then you directed staff, us, Derek, and myself, and others, go pick something between those two bookends. So you didn't decide, and I don't think you want to, at your level, the exact layout. You can leave that to me and Derek. So that's a roundabout way to then, yes, your question.
Well, because I'm just making that comment because looking at that, I mean, you have it now like this, but when you had it the other way, building that batch plant over, down there in that bottom corner to the left is
Over here?
no, over here to the left. To the
Yeah,
left.
Oh, the other left, not the right, the other
green
left.
line.
Down here.
Yeah, down there, where it would come with the possibility of, and I'm thinking way out there, where there was a possibility of hooking everybody up there in Loma Linda and getting them all off of the septic tanks, and you would bring that main line coming out of the subdivision there into Skyline and bring it down through there and across. There's a dirt road that goes through the three-way, but you would cross Skyline only once to get to that batch plant all the way down to that corner. Cause it slopes all the way down that way. I don't know. I've kind of mentioned that once in a while. I've had a discussion with Reed about it.
And if that were the case, if the packet plant were to be placed in this area, then we could avoid some expense by not taking that wash in, but you're talking where the cursor is now, essentially running, if you could hook up the entire Loma Linda system, coming down Skyline this way.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out in my head what the benefit.
Just comment, Derek, if you'll turn that 131 back on. In our discussions with the state land department, they have said in the past that they like those blocky shapes. And as an example of that, this Modest Bluff take that they're working on. We just needed a rectangle up to a certain point past the flags. State land came back to us and said, we don't want to orphan a little piece of state land above that will be jutting out by itself. So they wanted Modest Bluff to run all the way up to the section line or midsection line, whatever it was, just to make it clean. So they kind of have that philosophy where they like nice clean blocks. However, in our last conversation with Bruce and a couple others from state land on the phone, they said, you draw whatever you want and we'll work with it. We're fine with whatever you draw, but that's just the history of how that blocky shape started.
Yeah,
was to kind of ease the state land. Conversations, they said.
Changing, yes, you can change. I want you to get the process started. When you change, it means you have to either redo or do some more of some of the prerequisites, the antiquity studies, the surveying and so forth. If you change shapes, you have to do that, some of that work over again. There comes a point in the process where they lock in and say, okay, we're going to appraise this. And of course, we've talked about they would like us to pre-zone it. They would like us to do some infrastructure planning. We're a little hesitant to go too far down the infrastructure planning because frankly, at this point, we don't have a developer to work with. But nevertheless, at some point in the process, if we move forward, we have to say, this is our footprint. And then they will do their appraisal based on that agreed upon footprint. At that point, you either start the process basically over again, or I mean, you're locked in. So I would say that while we could, if we want the process to move quickly, we probably should decide on something and go with that something. And then like I say, if necessity comes in and says you must really do something different, that'd be one thing. But like I say, at some point you got to decide, and it's a lot quicker and less expensive if you decide and stick with the decision. But there is some flexibility early on in the process.
see, as Derek mentioned, everything around that square of the 10 acres that the county owns already, all the way around there, that's all flat. Even over to the right side, to the left side, of course, the wash is what ends it. All of that is flat. Everything over on past the Y is flat to the left. Well, it's got a slight slope. That's why I'm advising that we look at the possibility of putting that batch plant down there. And it's also pitched a little but flat over on the right-hand side of Skyline. So back in the day when we first started looking at all this, Reed came up with when he put in some lot on a screen. Is that here to be able to be seen?
Derek doesn't have it, but I can get it to him here in a jiffy.
Before we move on with that, could you overlay the 114 again? I need to get this simple question out of.
It looks exactly the same except the wash.
Yeah. What is the benefit of that extra to the left or
Up
northwest of that wash? What is the benefit of that? Adding that? Anybody?
There really isn't any benefit.
Right.
It's questionable, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Let me pull up something else while we're talking about that and while Reed gets me this other information.
Get over to that side.
So why wouldn't,
We move it
why
down.
wouldn't we do that?
Well, that's why I want Reed to bring up what he
Okay.
had designed back in the day.
In your packet. You'll see. I did one of these, and for some reason that I cannot remember now, I left off $4,000. I don't know why. So in the chart you have in your packet, and this is, we don't know what the final appraised price will be. Our best guess probably falls somewhere in the blue shaded area. But exactly, you know, how much, landfill, we've applied for land there and the minimum auction bid there is $900 an acre, I believe, in that neighborhood. But state land, the appraiser knew it's going next to a landfill. I mean, what else are you gonna use it for? And so that's, you know, and state land, as we've talked before, is pressing us to zone this, pre-zone it. They would like to have an infrastructure plan. From their perspective, their job is to maximize how much money gets out of this for state land. Our job, of course, on the assisting the buyer side of it is to try and get for as least as we can. We've not hard committed to an infrastructure plan yet because frankly, we don't know. We can do zoning because frankly, we're probably the most nimble zoning county in the state. In fact, we're head and shoulders above. We could zone it for 1 acre single family residence and come back later and rezone it for multifamily housing. But when you start adding those layers of regulation, it'll increase the value per acre. So you take your best guess, and this is for 108, 114, excuse me, I don't like it, 123. 114 and 131, you know, acres. And you see the differential. If it's at $3,000 an acre, you know, your jump there is what, $60,000, 50,000. And so you can see kind of how it plays out. But these are estimates. This is nothing more than if it's this much per acre, this is what it would cost. And
I might add, and I don't mean to interrupt.
No, please go ahead.
I might add too that the two gentlemen that went down this path back in the day, probably when they finally pulled out was 2017 or 2018 when they pulled out because they couldn't get a guarantee of water from the previous owner of the water companies. They were never told that they had to have a rezoning or whatever. That never came into play. And it came all the way to the point where it got appraised, it got surveyed, the whole 9 yards of what they were buying, which was close to something like 200 acres. And this is just, you know, just talk, but a fact on the price of per acre, and it came in at $1,600 an acre.
Yeah.
That was ready to go up for auction, and they never got to that point because they never could tell them if they could provide
This is
water.
a variation of all the times we try to do comps in Greenman County. That is that simply it's difficult to comp them. In this case, you're right, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, whatever that turned out to be. I don't know, and maybe because they were developers, that was their business, maybe and maybe they didn't have a requirement or request that it be pre-zoned.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I know that one of them was an architect and the other one was just an investor, basically.
Yeah.
But I think they had the connections to do what they wanted to do, but never could get the guarantee of water. But yeah, I just thought I would mention that. So
Right. So I mean, in that case, you know, it may peg close to much down to this area. And of course, we won't know that for probably at least a year.
Right.
But going back to so to give you an idea of, you know, that's the various ideas on cost, but going back to your original question, this area, it'll take a minute here. The area between the green line along the southeast part of the wash and the pink area, so this area the one flat area you've got's right up here in this corner. But it would be difficult to get over there, so for housing development. And if the better place for a package plant would be down in the corner, then I honestly can't tell you why we would want to acquire that extra land.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
I won't, did you find that, Reed?
Sorry?
Did you find that?
Yes, sir, I just emailed it to you there.
Okay.
Okay, we'll see if we can figure out.
I think that gives you it gives a better view of what could happen here, where if this thing were to get off the ground and everything, that we would have to probably do the process again if we expand it down.
Reed, let's
Yeah.
be smart. Have you come drive? I could dink around, but I don't remember.
You might.
Mr. Understand.
This pictures that came up.
Back in the day. Like I said, I'm here, but I don't know that that's cool, that there's any benefit to go here. But if we go here and if we're able to go down here, then that's.
You're gonna see this shot right here, but.
Yeah, cause I drove all over out there. Got like
I'm saying here.
30.
What's
I'm saying here.
Yeah,
that one?
he's saying cutting out that wash area.
Yeah.
Moving it down.
Well, that would go against our engineer's squared theory.
Yeah, which we're really not, we don't have.
Which I don't-
that's law.
No, I say we go.
Look at that though.
No, see that,
This-
see,
This was a tad sight better than a sketch on a cocktail napkin. But that was just a concept that Reed put out. And I say that not to discount Reed's ability, but to simply say this is not a development plan.
No.
It's a sketch.
It's very old. And it was to show a possible density using on-site disposal. And you can see right here with that drainage channel, there's an obvious flaw there. That's just indicative that, as Derek said, it was a back of the napkin exercise. But still, in my mind, shows a lot of promise.
and everything to the right of that Skyline Road is also level. So that, if things were.
Up to that obvious ridge right there where that road drops off.
Yeah, there's
Right.
like,
So that's why I'm saying that batch plant should be down there somewhere, down in the left side of this to drain everything down that way. So anyway.
and
What keeps us from, I'm sorry, I want to point at this though. We want to make a final decision, but I mean, what keeps us from following the green line down, right? And then can we go over to where it makes sense, here? And instead of including this section, which is another, what?
10-20 acres.
Yeah. But we add that to, and we can go straight over here, up here, and then get that off, or I don't think we're willing to do all of this at this point, but I'm saying if we were to, I like this, I like to keep this because I think that's important. And it does taper off right, here. Tapers off right on this ridge here. But is there a way, we don't have to keep rebattling it, but if we move this, follow this green line, we go to roughly here and square that off, come here, meet up with this green line, just figure out what that is and we go forward and move on.
That might, Chairman.
Go ahead.
And just, I think going to, again, what we're looking for, if you're looking for that ability to put a package plan in, you need the elevation.
Yeah,
The elevation drops either down the flat or you go right just south on the map, right, straight down into the canyon. So there's elevation drop like Chairman Gomez is saying, an elevation drop this way, and an elevation drop
Drop
this
that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are your two drops, so you're not a package plant down here, it would serve the whole flat because it's dropping off, or you're down this way.
Yeah.
The same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was thinking this area, the reason I wanted to include this area, it definitely drops off right here.
Yeah, if you took this and you extended this down to here, you could probably feed the whole.
And if you ever driven that road going to the three-way right there where it drops off, pretty well levels itself off down there too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential down there
Wow,
too.
this road goes where?
To the three-way, that's the Ward
That goes
Canyon
all the way
Road.
across, it cuts over.
It
by
goes
the
to-
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, all the way to the airport.
Does it pop out like by public? Work?
A little bit more.
Yeah,
Okay, I've never taken that.
The challenge with package plant placement is, as Reed pointed out to me, is Skyline Road kind of runs along a ridge. And so ideally you'd want to avoid as much lifting as you can.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
so since this runs right along sort of the backbone, if you will,
That would be. the
you do
place.
get drainage off to the side like this, but you get drainage off this way over here.
Yeah.
You know, this little drainage right there, and we'll see if we can contour it a little bit. That wasn't helpful. How we got there, I don't know.
Yeah, that little R has a crown.
on your keyboard if you want.
There, I think we kind of got it. But as you come in here, you see there's a drainage that drops off in Loma McKenna there. So this may be an area of, you know, batch plant placement. I don't know.
I catch the lowest ground, thank you.
My thought was, the reason I wanted to include this area was for whether that's a, retention, green belt, whatever, or, wastewater treatment plant in this area, because it seemed like it.
Yeah.
So,
Grassy,
Mr.
but-
Chairman, my answer to Supervisor Campbell's question is, there's nothing, from an engineering point of view. And also speaking for state land, who already conveyed this to us, state land doesn't care.
Yeah.
What we end up applying for. We have a great relationship with them, and they said, draw a polygon that works for you, and we'll run with it. And beyond that, you can make that area any shape you want it to. And I know I'm drifting off the topic here a little bit. And right now, none of us we're in heat of the battle with a lot of big capital projects, not looking for more to do. But sewering the community like that is a very popular project. There's a lot of grant funding available for a project like that because it solves perceived environmental issues. And so down the road, after our county administrator and I catch our breath, maybe that's something that we look at. And because of these lower lots here, when you consider those, then you'd rather gravity feed to a sewer plant than lift to it. Then going this direction would make more sense for a package plant. And I realize I'm digressing a little bit, and I'll be quiet.
And that conceptual map that you put together back in the day, Reed, those are acre parcels, aren't they?
They're about 3/4.
3/4 acre bar. So that's the reason I keep bringing up this batch plant, because for density, can you imagine what you can get in there if we did do that? And those are right now at 3/4, and we could split those up. There's some people that just don't want a yard. They don't want to maintain. They just want a place to live, and especially people that retire and want to remain here and so on and so forth, and I'm drifting off into other things, but yeah, it's just prime. It's just a prime location right there. And a batch plant is something that I think with the grant funding that's out there, we should really consider.
So do you have any issue with, I like the green outline. I think that's where I was at, but being able to take in that other sliver to the left right there and meet up, down to the bottom of that green line, including that, instead of including that north of that wash, including that area looks to be about the same.
It's probably actually less. in
Maybe a
terms
little
of
less, so,
acreage.
but still, that's at 131-ish.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just ballparking, but that's probably 10 or less acres to come.
Yeah. I think we
Yeah.
just redraw that right there, include that right there. I think that's a
Squared off.
good investment for us. I guess, is it the biggest that we could possibly do? No, but it's what we could possibly manage and what we could possibly afford as a first step of getting
Well,
that
and-
state
and
land.
you pointed that out. We've talked everything from, 506 or 560 acres, whatever it was, where we have the whole, thing.
Yeah.
And, and that's, we've had some kind of conflicting messages from, potential partners. Go big, was one message. And the other one was limit your risk, go small.
Right.
And so this is somewhat in between.
Yeah.
It's that we would be over 108 acres and still probably not exceeding 130, 120. We probably get it close to 120, would you say, Reed, ballpark? It's by just adding that sliver over to the side.
Let's call it not to exceed 125 and redraw it and
Just
go.
redraw that side down to the side.
Well, let's redraw it and then we come up with a figure.
Okay.
There, Mr. Chairman, let me do that real quickly in real time. And then you can,
Okay.
Come drive.
Okay.
so what you see is a poly line, a connected poly line. Rather than an area, and this is gonna look a little garish, but we're just gonna rough in. And I'm actually gonna go over there just for giggles.
I like that. I didn't know why we had that little corner cut off. That,
And then if you look at the measurements there. So that's 145 acres, and I made my boss a little grumpy with me by taking this corner here, but I just wanted to see with your discussion about a potential future package plant. It may end up in that area. And so if you take that out, I think that's probably a 10-acre block right there. I'm sure it is, just looking at our park up here. So that would, and keep in mind, you need to subtract that 10 acres out. So this is actually
135, right?
And if you took that out, it would drop down.
I kind of like the look of that block, including that little corner down there.
Yeah, so we'd be at 135.
Right. Yeah. Let's move forward.
Let me do some other real-time calculation for you real quick.
Okay.
That can take off the ground and we'd be applying for section.
Or somebody else would.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's my whole point, is that this is a great starting point for us to set that up.
We
And-
want somebody else to be.
And hopefully we prove that somebody can build and then they deal with state lands and get the remainder down the road. He's ciphering this right now. Like Jethro Bodine.
So, what I've done here is just added a column to our figures, because like I say, because you take the 10 acres out, and we're roughly at 135. That's what the cost at those various price breaks turned out to be. So if it's at 3,000, that's $405,000 purchase. And I think we've agreed all along that ideally we set this up, we do the legwork and we start, beating the bushes for developers, so that I see a possibility here and they buy it at auction and take all those package plants and everything other decisions out of our hair. We become the regulator that we're designed to be.
Yep.
That
So,
would be ideal.
That is the ideal.
okay.
But I think we go with the 135 as that last
Matt,
drawing showed. Removing the 10 acres that we already have, but including that bottom. I guess that would be the southeast
we
corner.
square off the corner
Yeah,
on the southeast and expand to the west.
yes.
Okay. And
Well, that's my opinion. I don't know about the other two, but.
what,
Just-
you know,
just
if
give
you
us my-
guys could give us a final direction on it, I mean, we can apply for whatever you want us to, but if there's consensus around this, what we would ask for is a motion to, and I just undid Reed's work. Maybe it's right
It's-
here. Anyway,
You can find it later.
Yeah,
but we know what you're looking at. So, you know, with that, if we were to, if the board were to make a motion to direct staff to apply for a parcel of land of roughly 135 acres as outlined by the engineer in the meeting, which would include the southeast corner, and expanding the boundary to the west.
I second that motion.
I don't know.
You
You
gotta
have
say
to
so
say
moved.
so moved.
I don't make motions. I'm saying so moved.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
I second that motion.
All right.
Okay, we'll make sure that the chairman is aware that we've moved and seconded it.
Well, we'll let him chime in.
Sorry about that.
So we did a so moved,
So moved and we've seconded.
135.
Okay, motion has been made and second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it, so ordered.
We will prepare along that line then. Thank you, gentlemen. That's very helpful to us.
Thank you, Mr. Larson, for
Thank
your
you.
diligence.
Real time diligence. All right.
That was Cactus LLC on here on the phone right now, water company.
Really? They want to.
That's why I answered it and I said, I'll call you back after the meeting.
The well just ran dry.
No. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Reed. Thank you, gents. I think this is good. Okay, so we move into our next item of business. Item number 9, Derek, the Pierre County Administrator. When you get done there, the floor is yours.
We'll move very quickly. This is the final capstone of the budget process. This is where we gather the tax rates, not only the ones you set for the county and our special taxing districts, but also every other taxing entity in the county. And state law requires the board gather all of those and adopt them. We don't, you know, if one of these entities says we want to do this, we take them at their word. We do whatever they want to do. But all of these have been checked with the entities. They've been vetted. I gave you each a copy that had the actual tax rates highlighted. This is a form that we send to the Property Tax Oversight Committee. They'll check, make sure that everybody stayed under the TNT rate. Make sure we haven't, calculated something wrong. And so all that is necessary at this point is a motion to adopt the tax rates for fiscal year 26. I believe I provided you the proposed motion. But this is the final required step. This is why we're meeting today, because statute says we've got to meet, so many days away from the final budget adoption and so forth. And happy to answer any questions you may have.
I'm good.
No, I'm good.
I'm good
I
also.
move that we adopt the fiscal year 2026 property tax rates for all taxing entities in Greenlee County and set forth in the final Greenlee County fiscal year 2025, 2026 assessed valuations, tax levies, and tax rates sheet.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I call for vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it, so ordered. Thank you, Austin. Okay, we'll move into our next item of business.
Can I say one thing really quick? Just thank you guys for a successful budget process,
Yeah.
right? I mean, this has gone very smoothly. Every aspect of it was smooth. No hiccups, and that is so welcomed and appreciated. So, anyway,
Thank you.
great job.
Thank you.
Your-
I echo Ron's comment.
your whole team.
Excellent.
All right, sorry about that.
Okay, our next item of business, Derek and Bianca, the floor is yours.
I don't have any report on budgets or you know, state or local budgets, so I'll ask Bianca to take over.
Okay, Bianca.
Today, August 6th, Duncan schools start. Managers meeting this Friday, the 8th. There's the SEGO Executive Board meeting on the 15th, and Greeley County is hosting that. Our second board meeting for the month is on the 19th. That's all I have for August. Going into September 1st, our offices are closed Labor Day on that Monday. So our board meeting will be on September 3rd, Wednesday. County managers on the 12th. Our second board meeting in September will be on the 16th. Eco Small Counties on the 17th, CSA on the 18th. The county fair does start on the 19th and it goes through the 21st, sorry. That's all I have for September. October, I do have meetings highlighted on our tentative meeting schedule. It is October 1st, which is a Wednesday. I don't remember why we put it on Wednesday.
It should be on
It might be just,
the 30th, September 30th.
Well, what we typically do is run our first and third, so it'd be the 7th and the 21st of October, which.
That probably works better, because if not, we have to move the 14th probably to the 15th, because the offices are closed on the 13th, right?
right, that's why I highlighted the second meeting also.
So move it to the 7th and the 21st.
Okay, with all of
Wanna
you,
do that?
yes.
Okay.
Okay, so the first meeting will be October 7th, Tuesday. The 13th, Columbus Day, our offices are closed. Our second board meeting will be on the 21st. The CSA Summit is in Yuma. That is starting on the 28th and it goes through the 30th of October. No county managers, CSA or EGO. Well, I don't have any
There'll
dates.
probably be a county managers meeting on the 10th. But CSA doesn't meet when we have the summit. That is the meeting.
Quick question, do you have a time on that SEGO meeting, the 15th of
o'clock.
August?
10 o'clock. Lawrence Club.
10 to what?
Okay.
You go to that, David?
Sure. Board.
County manager.
Do you mind if I visit that day?
Should go, yeah.
So we all plan on the 15th attending that
Well,
SEGO meeting. We have to
Yes.
vote
yeah.
for that.
We would post it, because it's not our meeting, but we would
Right.
post it, y'all. If two of you go, we'll post it, you'll be in attendance.
Well, I would post it, yeah.
Okay,
For the SEGO?
yes.
Yeah, I'm
Since we're hosting.
planning on being there too.
So what we do is we post essentially all of our supervisors will be at the same place, same time. It's not our meeting, but they may discuss issues that are relevant to the county, that type of notice.
Maybe we could take our accountant, because they're having enchilada rice and beans there.
There you go.
I think we all should.
And
Take our county attorney too.
Thank Bianca, because she made all the amenities and all the calls and everything, so. We're good to go. All right, well, with that said, we will do our
Consent agenda.
final and last. No, it is
Consent.
consent agenda.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as listed.
I second that motion.
Motion has been made in second. Is there any discussion on any one of these items?
Nope.
Hearing none, I call for vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it. So we will now move into our next item of business, supervisor reports. Anybody have anything to report?
I don't for this meeting.
I do not have anything, Mr. Chairman.
And I don't either, so This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, folks.